needs a therapist when you have a friend podcast. So you guys, I'm just recording on my phone with my normal audio. I do not have my podcast thing, mostly because one, if you're walking, you can't hear anything except my own voice. And then two, also, I wasn't even planning on doing one, but I mean, look at this awful pimple. Like, it's hard too, you guys. Like, I have a hard pimple on my face. It's also, I have some like pimples down there too. Oh my gosh. It's fine though. You know what? You guys, like, so anyway, I'm walking and I was just talking to the Lord, you know. I like to talk to the Lord a lot. He's like my best friend. But I also want you guys to be my best friend as well. So I'm going to talk to you. So you guys, I was thinking, besides the fact that I have these pimples and it just got me off track, as I was thinking about this, I've been in a relationship with my boyfriend probably like 8 years, maybe 7. And when I got together with him, I was like, you know, I'm going to be married by 2024. This is like before all this like trauma stuff with EKU happened. And I was like, I'll be married by 2024. We'll have a house. And if we don't, then I'm probably going to leave you because, you know, I'm like not happy. Which actually here in 2024, I'm actually not very happy with him, honestly, because I'd been growing a lot in the Lord. And I just don't know exactly where that's going to go in my relationship. I just am going to pray about that. If you could pray for that for me, I'd appreciate. But, you know, that's not what I got on here to talk about. Anyway, I'm also talking about how I was thinking about how I had been in the car with him one time. We were driving to Florida. We drove to Florida one time, and my mom doesn't ever leave. Like, she never leaves the house. Like, she won't leave her town. Barely at all, unless if it's for her job. She really doesn't care about her children or, you know, anything like that in regards to, she just doesn't care. Like, she's had her granddaughter alive for, 6 months, and, my dog tries to, pull me down the hill there. Anyway, yeah, the granddaughter had been alive for 6 months by now, I think, and she's not went to see it. Her. And also, she just doesn't leave, but that's a whole nother story. Anyway, so my grandma was, asking us to go and see her in Florida, and my mom, for once in her life, was like, oh, I'm going to go, Magenta. I'm going to go with you, and that'd be awesome. And I was like, oh, great, Mom. You can come. I was so excited. I was like, my mom's going to go on vacation. My mom and us have never really been to Florida or anything. So, you know, I was excited. I was like, we can go in my car and everything's going to be dandy. No, you guys, she decided to tell me that because my boyfriend was going to go, that she didn't want to ride in the car with him. And I was like, so you don't, the guy I just told you I was dating with, I've been dating for 8 years now. She didn't want to ride in the car. I mean, yeah, our relationship was new at the time. I think we had only been dating maybe 5 months, something like that. But I wanted him to, you know, see my grandma and stuff like that. I think that's why he was going. So, you know, we all go, and she was like, oh, your sister wanted to go. And I'm like, okay, so it would be all of us in the car. That's great. How awesome, right? No, my mom actually said she wasn't going to go because he was going. And then my sister decided for some reason that she wouldn't go, which was really interesting. I think before that, we had actually drove with my sister to Florida. And at that time, she was getting bipolar. So you could tell that she was starting to decline mentally at the time. But no one else believed me. That's also another story. But anyway, so I'm driving down to Florida with my new boyfriend at the time, and that, you know, that song that, that suicide song comes on. It says, call this number, for mental health. Whenever that song came out, it was on, and I didn't know that that's what that phone number was for. So I called it, and then realized that that's what that number was, and I was like, oh no. So then I hung up, and I wondered why I never got a phone call back, or I never got anything like traced to me or anything. That's because when you call that number, they never call you back. They don't even have police come and check on you. And it's actually really sad when you think about it, because, why not? They're supposed to care about you. And that would be so, hurtful to anyone, or at least it does to me once I found out about it. So I don't know about that. So then I was also remembering that I can't remember. I disassociated from my entire relationship with the man that I'm with now. So I've disassociated half of that relationship. I think that I remember bits and pieces, but I couldn't even remember that he was the one that was with me in the car at that time. And I had to ask him the other day, how could I do that? Well, why? And so this poor guy, he's really helped me through a lot of it, and he's helping me get closer to the Lord and everything, because I went down a spiral with what happened at EKU. I was in, you think that stuff is bad, but that was just so bad for my mental health and just for me in general. I didn't know what to do. I was so lost, and I lost the person I was, and I lost everything that I knew. I also not only lost my schooling, that I had worked so hard for, but I also lost my grandma during that time. I just lost it all, at 24, and I had already been getting abused from the year of 20. This person really needs to learn to not drive so fast. We're on a one-way street here. She shouldn't be driving that fast without slowing down at all. That irritates me. Anyway, so yeah, I disassociated from it all, and I'm obviously all over the place this morning. I did try vanilla iced berry Red Bull today, which I'm not really into drinking a lot of caffeine. So that's probably why I seem so sporadic in what I am talking about. I have tried to reach out to some people to be on my podcast, but no response. So that's a little bit sad. You're getting, rejected. But that's okay, because I'm used to it, unless if, you're paying someone normally to be my friend. That's normally the only way I would have anyone to talk to anyway. So here I am just talking to you, and I'm just thankful that you're here talking with me or listening to me, because if not, I don't really have anyone else to talk to. So anyway, I disassociated from that year. Actually, I disassociated probably after 2018. No, it probably started in July of 2017 and did not stop disassociating things until probably not that long ago. So probably 2022, I started really healing from my life and just the things that had happened. But I was probably disassociated from 2017 to probably 2022, yeah. And at this time now that I'm spending more time with the Lord and learning what the Lord's purpose is for me, I feel when I think about it, I feel I still failed at life in some ways. I feel that way. But you can't talk to yourself like that, because when you talk to yourself in a negative way, it's never good for your own mental health or your brain and how you're going to see the future, because we can't live in the past. We have to live for the future. We can't live for the past, because the past is over and we can't redo it. No matter who really wants to go back to the past of all that trauma that did happen to them, because sometimes I think I would like to redo how I reacted to the situation. I think I would go back and react a little bit different in certain ways. But I don't think I could change the experience that I had, because the Lord gave me that experience, and I have to have it as a testimony to be able to continue and move on. I would have been a girl that would not have known what it's like to lose everything that you've had and worked for. I wouldn't know what it's like to basically be homeless. I wouldn't know what it was like to have to, go to the restroom outside, or, like live with just complete filth and live in roaches and, things like that. If it wasn't for the experience that I really had, by losing myself and losing everything that I lost at EKU. And for what is it to gain the things of the world but to lose your own soul? And so I was lost, so lost. When all of that happened, I felt like I lost it all. And I mean, also, I got things stolen from me. Like, they stole a whole backpack. Like, EKU literally sent out people to come and steal my backpack. Like, why would they do that? And I know that they did. Like, I can't prove it, obviously, but I always felt like someone was stalking me. Like, at the time that I was being failed out for school, that they had wrote a contract out saying that they were going to not make me pay for redoing a class that I made an A in, that we redid. And then also, like, they just wrote out a whole contract saying I wouldn't have to pay for schooling and blah, blah, blah for this long and whatnot. And they broke it, obviously. But they also, I believe, sent someone to stalk me and steal my backpack. Like, who does that? They broke into my grandpa's car because at the time my car was broken. And my car has been broken since, it got wrecked. My boyfriend wrecked it, so then my grandpa was allowing me to use the car at that time, which actually at this point in time, I still don't have a car. But the Lord is going to, I believe that the Lord has told me that I am going to be able to afford a car very soon. A brand new car. That would be just amazing. Biscuit! And, that's the hopes, because the same car I had in 2017 is the same car I have now that's been broken since 2022. And I've tried to get people to fix it, and I'm pretty sure that they supposedly tried to fix it. But then I feel as if, you know what, that's another story also. So anyway, we're going back to the car situation, that someone did take my car. So it got broken into, so that they broke it. Sorry. My boyfriend ran my car off the road in 2017, and so I was using my grandfather's car in 2017 to get to school, and someone broke into his car when I was at my house for a weekend, and someone stole my backpack and then tried to make it look like they were stealing my shoes that were in the car as well. But they stole the whole backpack that had nothing really valuable in it except for like something that my grandma had actually walked to get for me. Like, she walked to, so she was on oxygen, and she went into Cracker Barrel, and she was able to walk and buy me this little turtle thing from Cracker Barrel. And it wasn't like a lot, but it meant a lot to me because she bought it for me and she was thinking of me. And I like it when people just think about me. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, if I know you're thinking of me, that's how, I guess I feel loved. If you're thinking of me or you get me a gift, I love to get people gifts. That's my favorite thing to do, is to get people gifts. I love to customize it to a person, and it would be small little things that you would have just told me about yourself that I would have found out, and then I customize it drastically. Because I just love that. I would rather buy someone a gift than buy myself anything, because I don't like to buy myself stuff. So when I get a gift, I find it so amazing, and especially, I've never really had anyone tailor the gift really besides her to things that I needed or wanted. But I do long for a relationship of a friend or something like that, that someone will one day tailor me a gift like that. And actually, I have put thought into it. That's all I really care about, is that their thought, the thought of me. Anyway, a little bit crying about it. But, so anyway, they stole it out of the back of the car. And, you wouldn't think anything of it, except for another time I was at my grandpa's house, and it just kept feeling like someone was, following me, because by this point I get my car back. It's fixed and everything. But someone then breaks the tail light. Someone tries to break into the car, and then they break into my home, and they literally stole the recorder. And I know that someone was trying to steal the recorder because all the doors were left open after they had came into the house, and my boyfriend saw him and was chasing him through the field at my grandpa's house, and the guy dropped the recorders. Interesting. Why would they try to steal the recorders that I had of the things that they were doing to me at EKU? That's right, because what they did was wrong. Because what EKU did was so wrong, and it needs to be told, because I know that they I'm pretty sure that EKU sends people out to stalk people who have reported things to the Equity and Inclusion Office because they don't want a lawsuit for their school. But, they did everything in their power for that lawsuit. But you know what? I will not be silenced anymore by what they did, because, you guys, I was in a disassociative state for 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, almost 5 years, literally 5 years, probably almost 6 years. I was literally in a dissociative state, and I only did not share what happened when I had it all on the paper in so much better writing. I could have showed you guys paperworks of things that they said, and I had the emails. I wish I could have shared this testimony so long ago, because what they did was wrong, and they send people out to stalk you and steal from you. And I believe this 100%. This is exactly what happened to me, and I know that they do it. If only I could have proved it. And when you go to the police and you try to tell them that someone's stalking you, they laugh at you and say that you have no proof. But here's the funny thing. Nowadays, you can just Google someone on Google Earth, Google Maps, and whatnot, and get away with it. You can find someone's address, publicly. You could probably find mine right now. Stuff like that. So obviously, it's not a wild, far-fetched thing, especially when you know that you're probably in danger, that they continue to stalk you. You just don't know the person that's stalking you. I mean, come on, this is really a problem. It needs to be addressed, very much so. And I just don't know how else you can address it. There's so many people who become victims to stalkers because the police didn't listen. Or let's talk about the people who get sex trafficked, or all of these things. This is just a terrible thing for it to happen to anyone. And so, I don't know. And especially for a school to send out a person to do this to a person. And I lived an hour to an hour and a half away from the school. So whoever it was had stalked me all the way home. And this stalking did not stop. Even when I was living in EKU, I lived at a person's house, and my car alarm would go off and all this stuff. So someone was trying to break into my car all the time. This was how it was when I was having complications with EKU, Eastern Kentucky University, for occupational therapy. I was abused, harassed. I don't know what else you could say. Trying to say that I'm plagiarizing when I did my own work, and even the tutor said that. No tutor was going to be sitting there writing my 3-5-page papers. No way, without me having done anything. No, that wasn't going to be happening. Who would do that? I don't know. That was really sad. And now where we have AI, AI literally writes anything that you want now. So that's just even more crazy to me that, they thought I was so stupid. And now people have AI writing their papers to where I probably wouldn't have even needed a tutor by this point. Interesting, right? Yeah, I think so. And then they say, oh, Magenta, you adapted. You adapt so well. With the disability that you have, you just learn to adapt. What's occupational therapy about? Adapting your environment, right? So like when I was going to school, they said, occupation, you want to try to help them get back to their occupation by having, occupational play or something like that, I believe. So if they wanted to be a construction worker, you would put like screws in like a block, and they would have to, if they had a stroke or something like that, they would have to try to unscrew the screws. That would be part of it. But then you would have to do preparatory methods before that to be able to get to being able to do the screws if they couldn't do that. But see, the thing was at that time that a lot of OTs would just do preparatory methods and then never take them off of it. So then they would never go into what actual occupational therapy does. And, I also heard that they were trying to take away Head Start. They're also changing all of the CDC things that say if your child isn't crawling by this time, it's not a delayed milestone, and words, which is also for speech therapy. And, I think that that's not good because they're just trying to prevent kids from, being able to get the help that they need, which is also part of occupational therapy, which they commend themselves on a lobbyist that they think that they need all the time, which the lobbyists did help occupational therapists get more money. Good for them. They're good at research, but let's see them actually in action. Because honestly, from what I saw, the teachers that were occupational therapists, probably why they became a teacher, because they couldn't actually do their job in the therapy. Because from what I could see, I've never seen really occupational therapists put to the test exactly what we were learning in school at that time. And the occupational therapist that I went to at the VA, the Lexington VA, he wouldn't even have spell check for his email. Did you know that they didn't even have spell check for their emails? Yeah. And also that man wouldn't help nobody. He would leave for about 2 hours a day out of his job. For occupational therapists, you'd think you'd see patients. No, this man would leave for therapy and would still be on the clock. He would say, no, I'm on the clock. That's how I get paid. It's perfectly fine. So this man wouldn't even say that he was leaving. He wouldn't even clock it in. But how is that even a thing? Right? So the government was paying an occupational therapist to go to counseling, which he was going to counseling because he had anger issues and he didn't like women, which is a whole nother story, which I haven't even gotten to in my podcast yet. But you guys, I just felt like I really just needed to talk about this because disassociation from life is just a thing, a real thing. To heal and to disassociate from what has happened to you. And then you spiral down when you go into disassociation. And so I was wondering, everyone was like, you need to just forget about it. You need to move on. Well, how do you move on, you guys? How do you move on with your life when you're still trying to process that there's people so evil that would do this and plot it against you and steal from you and just continue to do all of these things that they've done? I cannot for the life of me figure it out. I literally still to this day can't fathom how they did that. But I do forgive them and I pray over their lives and I pray for blessings for them because they don't know what they did. Or they do know what they did, but they didn't in the spiritual know what they did. So I forgive them because I hope they find the Lord because, I don't think they knew the Lord. And I just hope they find the Lord because that's not a good place to be where they're at. And you know what else? I also think betrayal is a lot in this situation that happened because there was this person that I lived with that was my dad's friend. Well, my dad died in 2009. He died, and so my dad's friend, it wasn't really my dad's friend that I feel like was betrayed. I think it was his wife, but she was the one supposedly helping me write these appeals back in 2017. But she was like, oh, I don't want anyone to know that I've helped you because this could be drama for me and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, I'm not going to tell anyone. No one knows I live here. Like, I'm not going to tell anyone. So, I didn't understand why she was so worried about her, like, everything. I guess because it was her job. So sure, at the time I didn't really think anything of it. So then fast forward a few years later, and I find out that her daughter was actually a mentor to the woman who failed me, that this lady was helping me make an appeal to try to stay in the job. And she let her daughter be mentored under her and thought it was perfectly fine. So that means that woman was never really on my side and never really cared, even though she saw exactly what was happening and how distraught I was in regards to it. And I just couldn't believe that. So I had to deal with a little bit of betrayal, feeling betrayed. So not only did I get stole from and stalked, harassed, belittled, told I was stupid basically day in and day out, I also got betrayed by someone I, respected and thought actually cared about me, but in reality, never did. So I always wonder, like, why they even let me stay at their house, because when I got there, they were like rules, and I'm like, okay, that's perfectly fine, whatever. They were like, you can't drink alcohol. Well, I've never drank alcohol in my life, so I was like, that's perfectly fine. Well, they didn't believe me, I guess, because my dad was an alcoholic, and my dad would get, like, crazy drunk and do crazy stuff, I guess, because he was friends with him back in the day when my dad would do that stuff. Well, I was like, well, I don't do that, but okay. And I always thought it was super, like, awkward. It would make me feel bad because this guy would sit at the table with his family, and it was so nice because, he would spend time with his daughter, and he had his wife, and he had his son, and, they would all sit at the table, they'd play board games, but he would always be like, yeah, we're family, but, when he would say stuff like that, he was like, basically like I wasn't included in the family because I wasn't like his blood. So it made me feel bad about myself because, well, my dad had died and I never really got to spend time with him like that very much. And for me when I was younger, I never knew that he wasn't like my blood relative. I always thought he was because that's how my dad treated him. My dad treated him like he was blood relation, but apparently he wasn't. So I found that out in 2017 when I lived at their house, which I didn't know that was even a thing. I truly didn't. So whenever that happened, I was just so sad, and I just tried to stay away from him because apparently I wasn't part of the family, and it was just awkward. And so one night I'm laying in there and I hear them rummaging through like all this stuff, like through the kitchen area that I like had. It was just like they had literally like cabinets, and I think it might have had it had a sink. I don't know if it had a stove, but I put my like refrigerator down there because I didn't want to put all my stuff in the refrigerator because I didn't want to take up space. And so when I did that, we're about to pass dogs, and they're probably going to bark very loudly. So I'm just going to let you guys know that there's 2 dogs, and they're going to bark loud. And I'm not very close to them, but you're going to definitely hear them. So warning you now. So they were rummaging through everything that I had down there, and I was like, why are these people rummaging through my stuff? And they were trying to be quiet because I was already asleep. They were trying to rummage and look for alcohol, guys. They were looking for alcohol. After I had explicitly told these people that I didn't do that, they proceeded to try to say that I did. So that was hurtful when that was happening also, because, I mean, I was still really young at this point. Just for someone not to trust me at that time was hurtful. But now I know that she didn't really care about me anyway, so it was basically, betrayal nonetheless? Yeah. I mean, I forgive her. She needed her job, and, I guess that's what happened. And her daughter's really smart. I love her daughter. I still love the man that was my dad's friend. I mean, it didn't mean I didn't care for these people, I just felt betrayed and saddened. I wish I could show you guys the goats that I seeing, but I can't figure out how to flip the camera either. And I'm trying my best to, what's it called? I don't know. I'm trying my best here, you guys. Sorry that it's also like motioning on the camera. I don't really have. Do you goats? Yeah. I love goat milk. Do you guys like goat milk? And I love Parmesan cheese. And actually, I learned that Parmesan cheese and Gouda cheese is lactose intolerant, like lactose free. In case you are lactose free and would like to know about that. Yeah. So anyway, I really just wanted to talk about disassociating today, and just like how it's okay to do that. It's okay to take time to heal and to try to find your way in a different way. But you know what? What I will say is, maybe don't go out and spend all if you've saved money, because you're a saver, and so you save money, do not go out and spend it when you are disassociating. Please don't go do that. You're not right in the mind when you're disassociating. You cannot make good decisions, no matter how much you think that you're in your right mind. Don't do that. Okay, you guys, I did that. Bad idea. So that's how I ended up how I did. But also, I am going to praise the Lord, my Father which art in heaven, for just everything he did for me, because I have learned a lot. I have learned that these things in this world don't really matter. And I know, I do want material things, don't get me wrong, but you have to heal from the inside out first. You have to heal with the Lord before, that's what I had to do anyway. I had to heal from the inside with all the trauma and be able to sort through it. And my family's like, oh, you just need to stop talking about it. It's not important anymore. It's just going to make it worse. But actually, no. I have to talk about it. I can't have pieces of my life that happen to me and cry every time I think about it. I don't want that to be holding power over me. I don't want it to be holding anything over me. And so I have to talk about it. And that includes talking about the loss of my grandma, because no one in my family talks about her. And every time I talk about her, I start to bawl my eyes out. I start to cry. And a lot lately, I've been remembering her, because, it's Christmas time and Thanksgiving time. And I'm realizing that I don't really have anyone to spend those holidays with. My mom's still alive, and my grandpa is, but it's not like you're really with family, because they want to argue with me all the time. And my mom kind of did it to our family, which is why I don't really have a brother or a sister around anymore. And it's just so sad. I'm actually saddened by this, because she just tried to tear apart everything. And I might do a podcast on her someday if anyone wants to hear about her, because she's a piece of work. And of course she's going to yell. But you know what? This is our little secret, right? I don't care if she hears it, because, it's the truth. And half the time she doesn't want to listen to it. And I have nobody else to talk to about it. And the Lord has told me to be more open and to be more vulnerable, no matter what that entails. So you guys, I'm showing you little bits of my life, which I have never let people in. I've always kept them at arm's length. I'm very much an arm's length person. I'm also I love to hear about you and to know what you do with your life and the ways and the things that you do, because I like to hear about other people. I like to help other people. I like to help other people grow. I don't really like to look at myself or talk about myself like you would think. So it seems like I'm talking about myself a lot here, but to share this with you guys is actually really difficult for me to talk about, but I have to do it. And so I'm thankful for each person here. I don't care if one person views it. You are important to me. You are amazing. You are kind. You are smart. You are a masterpiece made in the Lord's image. And I'm just thankful to have you here with me on this ride of this podcast. Yeah, and I'm just so thankful to have you guys here with me on my walk. Maybe one day I can get something that will be a little bit more steady, so you guys can not have my phone moving around. Also, I think there's something wrong with my ear, because as we're talking, it's stuffed up. My ear is. So if I've been yelling, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I'm trying to hear myself, but it's stuffed up. So if you know what to do about that, let me know. Hopefully it'll be fixed by then, but I don't know. For the future, I would like to know. Oh, yes. This walk is normally about a 2-hour walk, which they say you're supposed to walk 5 miles in an hour and 40 minutes, but I guess I'm a slow walker. But you guys have been here with me, and I'm just thankful for you guys walking with me and allowing me to talk to you, because I really appreciate it. I know that it was a little tipsy and turvy, but I just wanted to say thank you. And also, there was a person while I was trying to heal and I was disassociated with life, that I had made a video about prior. And I thought she was actually my friend, because, we had been friends since 6th grade, and she had always talked to me about her wedding and being in it. And then she gets this boyfriend, and she stops really talking to me once she got a boyfriend. But it wasn't once she got the boyfriend, it was once she got engaged to the boyfriend, which I thought was super weird. And then she didn't even invite me to the wedding. And she was the only person in my life that I ever thought would actually be my friend enough to invite me to her whole wedding. But she didn't. And that was hurtful for me. Yeah. That was a hurtful situation. I still think about her, and I pray for her life. And I hope that she's doing better. And I want nothing for the best for her. I'm just sad that relationship had to end. But again, I don't know if she was actually my friend, or if she was only my friend for a season, which can happen. But I do feel bad that what I did hurt her feelings so much that she would block me and never want me in her life again. But I was disassociating, and it really wasn't me at that time. I was just so hurt in life and felt so numb, failed out. I felt like a failure in every aspect. But if she ever sees this, I hope she's doing so good, and I hope she's happy and healthy. And I pray for happiness in her family and her life. And I never meant to hurt her. Which I told her that too, but, sometimes things happen. But you guys, I didn't really have very many friends anyway. I didn't think anything would be that bad about it, but oh well. But anyway, that was a situation. Also, that happened. Anyway, you guys, it's a beautiful fall day. It's a little bit not sunny, but it's nice. I just want to thank you guys for listening to me and being with me today. And me and my big old humongous pimple there. I hope it goes away. I've never really I don't get a lot of pimples, but this one is like really hard. I don't know about that. Also, during the time I was disassociated, in case you guys just want to know, I literally had a mole removed off my eye. And the other day I was looking at my face and I was like, what happened to that mole that was on my face? Because it had been there for my whole life. It was like right up on my eye line area. And I had to ask my family, like, did I get this like taken off? And they were like, yeah, you did, Magenta. And I was like, wow, can't even remember that. So just give yourself grace when you're healing and disassociating from your life, because there's going to be things that you do during that time that aren't you, that you can't remember, and you look back on and you're like, how come I did that? What person was I? You know? So anyway, I just want to thank the Lord for everything He's done for me, and just thank you for being here again. So, you guys, I haven't actually made it to the destination of the walk, but I think I have said everything I needed to say today. So just thanks for being here.